Happy Saturday, gang. I hope you're going well. This is a bit of a dedication to a long-time viewer to get us going. We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. Bit of Rick Astley coming out your ears. Short FM. For those of you that know a bit of British comedy, I got asked yes last night to put I'm Never Gonna Give You Up or Let You Down. Okay. I got sent a DM last night asking me to kick the show off with a bit of Rick Astley. So, gang, whatever song you want on at the beginning of the show, feel free to let me know, and I will absolutely blast it out at the start of the show. Here he is, Robbie Castro, takes me back. There you go, son. There you go, bit of Rick Astley. Gang, I hope you've had yourselves a wonderful Saturday or are having a wonderful Saturday so far. My name's Andy, and this is the Ask Andy Anything show. I'm all about connection, fun, and simplicity in any particular order. And what I want to do is bring the complicated back down to a simple level in whatever case, in whatever it is, right? So real estate, business, marketing, mental health. I'm really good at making life a lot easier and a lot simple and a lot more straightforward in whatever it is that people ask me about. So, gang, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them either now or at some other point during the show. You can either put a comment in the links, but in one of the feeds below, whichever feed you're watching on, or you can send me a direct message on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and I will post your questions out there, and I'll do it in an anonymous fashion so that you don't feel like you're getting exposed if it's a particularly sensitive question. Gang, it is Saturday night, and as I'm sure you can tell, it's a bit chilly where I am in the world. I don't know where you guys are. We've had fans. Fuck. Seriously, how much of a wanker am I? Fans, dickhead. We've had people watching from Puerto Rico, Ireland. We've got a couple of guys from the UK watching, the US, Canada, and obviously here in Australia. So we can say that we're truly an international show, which is pretty cool. So, gang, 2 questions today, and both of them are marketing related, really. So we'll crack on with them. I know it's a Saturday night in Australia. I'm sure you've got plenty better things to be doing than just listening to this rather straightforward talking Pom. And we'll crack on with them, let you get on with the rest of your night. And for those of you that are watching in other parts of the world, hopefully we'll give you a bit of energy to get you fired up and rocking and rolling throughout the day. Oh, Robin, bless you, Robin. Well, I tell you what, the feeling is very much mutual. Robin Waters, everybody, is an absolute stalwart, one of the true icons of the real estate space, in anybody's opinion. Recently been given the Australian Order of Merit, which is pretty phenomenal. Her services to the real estate space and beyond have just been incredible. So, yeah, you're talking about being a fan of mine, Robin. Well, I'm telling you now, I'm tipping the cap to you, my dear, because you are an absolute legend in many respects. Now, let's crack on with the show, gang. So, first question, quite pertinent. Obviously, in Victoria, we were all getting told to wear some masks, and I've been asked, branded face masks, are they a good idea? Now, I've seen a whole bunch of people in the feed that have already got their branded masks on and, giving it large and all that sort of jazz. So please, look, don't take offense by anything of what I'm about to say, because it really is just my opinion, right? It's just a simple English guy's opinion. And I'm looking at it from a consumer's point of view and thinking about consumer behaviors and then relating it back to everything that we do in our profession. Now, when it comes to face masks, and I mentioned this briefly the other night, the best sort of way to come up with a reason as to why I actually don't think that branded masks are a very good idea at all, to be perfectly frank, is because, say, for example, you're in Victoria and we're all being told we've all got to wear our masks, right? Or if you're in the UK, apparently I think it was yesterday, I think if you go to any shop now, you have to wear a mask if you go inside to the shop, inside the shop. Have a think about going to the supermarket, right, and walking in and being greeted by a whole bunch of people, be it staff or customers or whatever, all wearing masks. What is your first reaction when you see anybody else wearing a mask when you're just going about your day-to-day life? It doesn't make you feel very good. It really doesn't. You could go as far as to say that the face mask, the face mask that we've all been told to wear, is almost the physical sort of representation of COVID. That's probably the most common representation of this pandemic going around, right? So, gang, if you think about it that way, do you really want to be related to COVID? I'm not sure that you do, right? Because masks create anxiety. Not only that, when you put them on, a lot of people that put them on feel tremendously claustrophobic. So anxiety and claustrophobia. And then the other thing is damn frustration. Half the arguments that people are having on social media is about whether we should be wearing these face masks or not, whether it's actually relevant or not. Loads of contradictions, right? Loads of contradictions in social feeds and across news publications and whatnot as to the validity of them. So you've got so many negative associations with the face mask. Would you really want to then stick your brand on it so that when people see that face mask, people then see feel all of those emotions plus your brand? I really don't think it's a good idea, gang. I really don't. It's the same with like sort of COVID marketing generally, right? We all know what this pandemic is, okay? We all know it's COVID. We all know it's a pain in the ass. But the problem that we've got with a lot of people that are trying to market and trying to, win themselves some customers is they're banging on about COVID. I mean, are we not all fed up enough of seeing it on the news as much as what we are doing? You've got to think about life, everyday life, before you go branding or marketing in any way, shape, or form. Now, the big thing with the masks, the other big thing with the masks with regards to the branding, and this does kind of frustrate me a little bit when people just seem to be as quick as they can to just put their brand on anything possible, right? Oh, geez, there's a surface that hasn't got my brand on it. Quick, let's get it on. You've got to think about the connotations. You've got to think about the associations with whatever it is that you're branding when it comes to consumers. People are so quick to stamp their brand on stuff, they're not even thinking about the repercussions or the consequences. With branded face masks, well, think about it, right? From a marketing point of view, is a branded face mask going to help you sell a property or a product in any way, shape, unless it's a face mask, right? If it's a face mask, then go for it. But if it's not, if you're trying to sell a property, you're trying to get a property rented out, you're trying to sell any type of product in any way, shape, or form, you ain't going to be getting helped by having your face mask branded at all, are you? When it comes to being memorable, so the branding side of things, can you actually create a long-lasting memory in people's brains? Rubber stamp your brand on their minds subconsciously. Branding is essentially. Again, if I'm looking at a face mask and I see someone's brand and I then associate that with everything that I feel about masks, not a good idea if you ask me, because the only impression that you're going to leave is a not so nice one. So look, if you've bought a load of masks, it costs you an arm and a leg, then look, bless you. Look, I don't want to piss on your bonfire in any way, shape, or form. But the logic of it is that branded face masks are just not a good idea. They're just not a good move at all. They're just not. All right. Now, if you wanted to improve your personal brand with face masks, have a think about how you can actually, make light of the situation, lighten the mood a little bit. Humor is a really, really good antidote for so many of the issues that we're facing mentally right now. So if you are at public facing in your role and whatnot, have a bit of a conversation piece across your face. Don't have a brand. Have something that's going to make people smile underneath their mask. Not just make them feel that, oh, just here's another wanky real estate agent. Oh, shit, there's the brand again. You got to think about it, gang. Don't just go windmilling into branding everything all of the time. And aside from anything else, who's got the money to go pissing it up the wall on things like masks? I don't know. I reckon there's probably things you could be better spending your money on, right? Anyway, it's just my opinion, gang. Steve Carroll, you're a top man. Oh, mate, as are you, sir. And yes, the cricket is on, mate. So don't blame you for watching that instead. England, West Indies. Steve Carroll, who is an absolute thought leader in the digital space, whether it's real estate or business generally, but very much in the real estate space. He's doing some incredible stuff. Digital Live is coming to a town near you in Australia, so please make sure you check that out. And he has done some ridiculous work in the charity space with Hands Across the Water, doing bike rides over Thailand and raising obscene amounts of money, over $500,000, I think, which is helping to build centers that are going to help young kids that are in these real tough spots in Asia that normally get sent out to prostitution or drug dealing or something. And this guy's just banging up centers to prevent that from happening to kids. Pretty incredible, if you ask me. I think that's really, really cool. Okay, next question. If you want a shout out, by the way, just stick your name on there. Do a bit of a comment, as long as you're not an arsehole. If you're a dickhead, then I'm probably going to call that out as well. But next question. I know video is important, but I hate doing them. How can I get around it? I know that video is important, but I hate doing them. How can I get around it? Well, look, it's pretty much common knowledge now, right? That video marketing is absolutely critical for pretty much any business of any description nowadays. If you wanted to generate new business, of course. And look, when you're just nurturing existing business, setting up things like Facebook groups and then communicating to all of your existing customers via a Facebook group with a video, it's probably it's the most cost effective because it's free, but it's also probably the quickest as well. So video marketing it's like 15 years ago that it became important, really. And then before that, what is a TV ad? It's a video, right? So, and we've been watching them for however many years. So video marketing's been present forever. All right. So how can you get around it if you don't like being on the screen? But you got to bear in mind, doesn't have to be all about you, right? So think of like, if you're thinking that you need to do a video, try and work it again backwards from the consumer through to the end product. So the first thing that you need to do, in my humble opinion, is clearly define the message that you want to portray in your video, whatever the case may be. If it is, I want to define what a vendor means. I want to define what a Section 32 is. Something really simple. Or I want to communicate the importance of, I don't know, getting a building inspection done if you're a customer, right? So think about what your key message is, and then think about images, situations, interactions that you've had with people that have been around this topic. So if it's about contracts, think about you writing a contract with a consumer. Think about, getting paperwork organized and communicating with the conveyancer, those sorts of things. You don't necessarily have to talk to the camera. I would advise trying to get in front of the camera if you can. But if you're really self-conscious, and I get that, right? We all have been. I had acne when I was like 14, 13, 12 to 16, right? So I was ridiculously self-conscious for a long, long time. Still am to a degree. If you're really, really struggling with it, then think about graphics or videos or bits of content that you can quickly make up either with your phone or with a great videographer, and I'll talk about that in a second as well. And look at seeing how you can depict what it is you're trying to say with the images that come up in your head when you're dealing with that, whatever that point is. Okay, that is probably the best way to get around it, in my opinion. Now, there are lots of free apps and things like that you can use. I've talked about InShot a couple of times. InShot, which is a wonderful free app that helps you stick some graphics on and logos and what have you. Now, with budgets being the way that they are, of course, getting a videographer out is easier said than done. But if whatever it is that you want to say is what they call a cornerstone piece of content, if it's something that is critical, if it's a critical message, so say, for example, it's about the vision of your business, all right? So it's a real top line message that you want to get out about your business in its entirety, then that's when you need to think about investing in getting a good videographer, because that piece of content is going to last. You want that to last for a long time, like a couple of years or something, right? So it is worth investing the money in getting a videographer to have that content made properly and edited properly and done for sound correctly and all that sort of cool stuff, because you're going to want that. If that's such a key piece of content that's going to have such an important message, you want to get that right, and you're going to want to funnel traffic through to that. You're going to want to attract business through via that, right? So that is where you really want to invest some money in getting a videographer. So we've got Phil Georgiadis, sorry, mate, who is my media partner in what the coaching project that I'm going to be launching soon. He's an absolutely brilliant videographer, real multimedia, guys. So if you're in real estate in Victoria, check him out, realmultimedia.com.au. They are a brilliant setup, incredibly professional. I'd highly recommend them if I were looking at doing any videography from a professional point of view in Victoria. All right, and Phil's the main man there. Rob tried it today. Quick walk around tour. Fuck, I hate this. End video. Awkward when you're in an empty house talking to yourself. Well, you know what? The simple thing around that, right? Pretend you're showing someone round. That's what when I first started doing it myself, that was what I used to do. I used to pretend that I was taking someone around a property and just had a video on a stick. Or I got one of my colleagues to just quickly like video as I'm walking around. And it just like have that mental image of them being the buyer, and then you're showing them around and they've got the camera and they're looking as if they are the buyer. I did that once or twice as well. This end video, awkward in an empty house. Look, you don't need to do the audio to it straight away either, Rob. So if it's really making you feel awkward trying to say stuff while you're doing the filming, just do the video. And then do a little voice memo on your phone and then mash the two together. That would be the easiest way around. So watch the video and then do a little voice memo, doing your description, and then you can bang them together using that InShot app that I sent through to you, mate. So pretty straightforward. But if you need help with that, just give me a shout and we'll do a little screen share Zoom thing or something, and I'll give you a quick rundown of how that works, mate. Phil is just come up with another one. And he's a great guy. If you want any coaching on this side of things as well, Phil's a brilliant lad when it comes to offering advice. And keep trying. Just remember not needing to post anything. Do it, look at it. Remember, no one will see it. Once you've done a few, you will look back at it and think, hey, that wasn't too bad. And it's absolutely spot on. I tell people to go through the process of take a video and watch it yourself a few times until you're comfortable with it. And then take another video. So take a second video, show it to your spouse or your partner or whoever. Then take a third video once you've got their reaction, show it to your closest mates and get the brutal feedback. Then show it to your boss or mentor or those people that you really respect and admire in your field. and then on your 5th video, you should feel confident enough to just give it a crack. The biggest thing that stops people is their fear of judgment, right? It's the fear of getting judged by other people and getting ripped apart and taking the mickey out of and all that sort of jazz. But bollocks to it, man. You really haven't got time to be messing around worrying about what Muppets are going to think about you. The ones that are going to rip you into you probably weren't going to deal with you anyway, and you probably didn't want to deal with them anyway because they're probably arseholes. So sack it off. Just don't worry about them, and just look at communicating the best way you possibly can, and get it out there. You won't get immediate reactions all the time, right? You won't. Some won't get any reactions, and that's fine because you've got to go through them. You've got to work them all out. You've got to make sure that you try lots of different things, and then certain things will work at some time at one point, but then that same thing won't work a few months down the track because lots of people are in lots of different mentalities, especially now when lots of us are in very similar frames of mind because of various things, but mostly because of the pandemic, right? So that's what you got to think about is some people won't give a shit. Some people won't even care, won't even come on a lot of people's radar. I had someone say to it, who was I listening to? Brendan Burchard, right? Brendan Burchard, who he's a little bit salesy, but in the vast majority of his stuff, American guy, really quite informative. And there was one podcast I was listening to of his, and he said, look, you think that people know you? No one has an effing clue who you are. No one. And, the ones that do either like you or don't, they've made a judgment on you anyway. So there you go with them. But the vast majority of the 8 billion people don't have a Scooby-Doo who you are. So don't worry about it. Allow people to make their own mind up. But think about it in this way, though, as well. You've got an opportunity to reinvent yourself. If you have a fear of being in front of video, if you have a fear of talking. I mean, look, Rob, you're a sales agent and you are real good on the thumbs, right? He's really good with regards to witty comebacks and all that sort of stuff. Just go balls to it, mate, and just bring it out on video. If you want to be cheeky, be cheeky. It's you. But the last thing you want to do is not do it because of fear of judgment from the people that have already made an assessment as to who you are. It's not those ones that you're trying to appeal to anyway. It's all the other rest of the 7 billion, whatever 100 is, million and blah, 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 blah on the planet, right? So you got a chance to reinvent yourself. Do it now. And like I said, gang, COVID, from a great leveler point of view, has made it way more acceptable for people to see raw footage and to interact with things that are a little bit rough around the edges and stuff. You're allowed to be a bit more guerrilla and a bit more or a bit less polished, right? Because it's the nature of the beast right now. We're all doing loads of different things to just try and keep things moving along. We're all trying different stuff, loads of pivoting going on in businesses and, giving things a crack, not really knowing what you're doing, but you're going to give it a crack anyway and hopefully find out, right? It's an opportunity to just give stuff a crack. And for people like Rob, who are clearly really clever, funny guys, just balls to it, man. Just be clever, be funny, have a laugh with it. There's no harm in doing that. The worst thing that I've seen with so many videos, particularly when it comes to real estate tours, is the death by PowerPoint version of a property video. It's the agent that stands out the front looking like they've just seen a ghost and welcome to the property at 123 Smith Street. This is a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom property right in the heart of Hertfordshire or wherever. Let's go take a look. And it's just so nonsense because all they're doing is pointing out stuff people can already damn see. It's like I mentioned, it's the death by PowerPoint version. So, when you go to a meeting or a talk or something like that, and all the presenter does is just talk through every bullet point, verbatim. It's the most boring thing on the planet, gang. If you're going to do a walkthrough of a property, have a bit of fun with it. Be a bit more energetic with it. You don't have to go jumping in pools or all of the things that, get some likes from people in the industry. You're not after them. You're after consumers. Be personable. Right? when we go through properties, and I had chat about this last night with regards to private inspections and how you conduct them and so on and so forth. They're not here to see you. They're here to see the property. You've been hired by the vendor to help grow that connection between consumer and property to the point where they're happy to part with a wedge of money. You ain't going to do that by just showing them, well, there's the kitchen. Yeah, great work, Sherlock Holmes. You know what I mean? So just be a little bit more personable. Give yourself the freedom, the permission to be a bit more personable in these videos. One of the best videos, right? And Rob, this will appeal to you. This will appeal to you. One of the best videos that got me some of the best responses from buyers was a video that I did. It was for a custom built home, single story. And the owner, it was the owners that still lived there that had custom designed and built the home. Young professional couple. And I asked them, I said, guys, how do you feel about being on camera? And they were like, oh yeah, we don't mind. You know, I mean, we need a bit of direction, obviously, but we don't mind. I went, all right, cool. Because what I want to do is have you explain the property. And he went, well, why? And I said, because you built it, you designed it. It's your blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into the designing of this place. You know it like the back of your hands. I don't want to put the real estate agent spin on it. I'd much rather it come from a place of love and labor. And the video literally had me at the start introducing the home. And I said something along the lines of, you know what? I could take you through this custom built home myself, but I reckon these guys know it much better than me. So why don't you go talk to them? And that was just me stood at the front of the driveway. Videographer went back, did the whole video with the owners, and they talked about how, you know, they loved it and blah blah blah. Did a couple of stage shots with a couple of their friends coming around, having some drinks, blah blah blah. And then right at the end of the video, the videographer comes back out to the front of the driveway, and all I say is, "Told you it was nice." And that was it. Like I literally said, like 2 sentences, the entire video. And that was the only part. You literally saw me for all of about 8 seconds in the entire 2-minute clip. So if you really don't like video, speak to the owners and see what they like about the property. Get them talking about it and then get them in front of the camera maybe, if they're cool with it. If they're not, get them to do a bit of a voiceover on a memo, bang it in front of a video. Robert's your father's brother. Simple as that. All right? Less thinking, more doing. It's a really cool way to rock and roll right now. Try stuff, taste stuff. You know, it's the best way to be in a market that they're way less focused on judging people right now. All they care about is moving forward. So you've really got a superb opportunity to bleed yourself into new things, new habits, new methods of marketing and so on and so forth. All right. This is a great chance to do it. All right, gang. Hopefully that helps. Paul, I hope you're well, Paul. I've not heard from you for a while. Raw footage is very authentic. Of course it is. You got to pick your mark with it, though. All right? I keep going for my glasses. I ain't got them on today. You got to pick your mark with raw footage. I'm a massive fan of. Look, I'm doing this in my war room, right? I'm not exactly doing this in a really polished way, am I? But what I'm doing is trying to be relatable. I'm looking to be relatable. I'm looking for people to actually feel like they're chatting to me, as opposed to just dealing with someone that's done some real swanky video and blah da 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 da. All right. Raw footage is amazing, providing that the message that you want to get out there is very human focused. If you're wanting to do something professional, convey a sense of professionalism, like say, for example, the vision of your business, or why you're a real estate agent, or why you are a property manager, or a director, or whatever the case may be, raw footage is probably not a good idea for that. But if you're wanting to do something that you want to get across as a human being, like an opinion piece, or not a rant. Rants are a little bit passe, if you ask me. I mean, I do them on the odd occasion, but they're a little bit 2000s, if you ask me. That's, again, just my humble opinion about that. So if you are just giving someone an opinion, or you want to show a bit of heart, a bit of soul, a bit of passion about something, raw footage can be absolutely wonderful. And then, like I said, there's free apps that you can do your borders on them. So try not to just put a video, like a raw video. Try and do a little bit of work with it in terms of to a little border over it, so you can say what it is that you're putting forward, and then just bang it out there. At the end of the day, the way that Facebook, the way that any social media feed works is it'll be up there when you post it, and within about a minute, it'll be through the floor of people's feeds because of how many posts are coming on now, right? So even if it doesn't work out that well, don't worry about it. There's always tomorrow. There's always your next post. It's a bit like auctions. You're only as good as your next post, right? So if you post great, wonderful, you got to try and beat it. If you post rubbish, doesn't matter because you've always got your next post to make up for it. But do have a little bit of a think about it. Don't just go piffing stuff out and, like with it, like in a thoughtless manner, because you don't want to be doing it to the detriment of your own brand. So do have a bit of a think about it and run it through someone's filter, through someone else's filter, just in case. I do it all the time. I do it all the time. My wife's my first filter, and I'll ask one or two others. Then I might send something to someone else. So it's not like I don't go through this process myself. I do it all the time. All right. So you just get into that habit of just banging it to a couple of people, seeing if they think it's cool, and then rocking and rolling. All right. John, doesn't matter where you do it. I did try and call you the other day, mate, by the way, so I hope all is well. It doesn't matter where you do it as long as it is relevant. You're absolutely right, man. Like at the end of the day, it's relevance that's way more important than the flash and the bling and the polish. If it's relevant, it will resonate. It's not a bad line. If it's relevant, it will resonate. If it's not, it will just fall on deaf ears and people will just move on to the next one. But that's neither here nor there. Doesn't matter. They've just moved on. They'll have forgotten about it the second that it goes off the top of their screen. So don't panic yourselves. Just crack on. Get it done. Get it out. And the only way that you're going to know if you're hitting a mark is by getting it out there and finding out from the market if you're hitting the right chords. The more you don't do it, the more you'll be kind of wondering whether it's a good thing or not. You won't know until you try. All right. So hopefully that gave one or two of you a bit of a fire in the belly to really give the video marketing a red hot crack. All right, just give it a red hot crack. Just try it, man. And like I said, if you're really, really self-conscious, and like I said, I get it. I'm not saying ignore that because you can't. Then think about your situation that you're trying to, or the message that you're trying to convey. Like close your eyes and think about the imagery, the location, the situations that are coming up when you think about that particular topic, and then look at how you can turn that into something of a video, like with your phone or with a videographer or whatever, and then do a voiceover if you don't want to be seen on film. That'll do all right. Okay. All right then, gang. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday if you are in the land down under. If you're over in the UK, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys are faring well in the motherland. And for those of you, anyone else around the world, I hope you guys have yourselves a fabulous weekend. My boy's second birthday today, and the cake worked out well. Winning. Okay. So I've managed to earn myself a couple of brownie points with the kids, except for the fact that I hooked them up on sugar, which I'm going to pay for tonight. Anyway, you guys crack on. I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for all of your interactions. I genuinely appreciate it. And please, if you have any questions, keep them coming, because Andy, you ask anything and I'll answer it. All right. I hope you're well. Enjoy the rest of your night. Take care.